You're listening to The Secrets of Sacred Art, where we unearth the hidden treasures, history, and deeper meanings in religious and sacred art. We are your hosts, Alix Murray
and Kathryn Laffrey. Welcome to this Celtic-inspired patrons episode. DIY or DIY. Yeah, I always say it wrong. Celtic prayer cards. I know. I just like little dyslexia throw in there, right?
No, I was going to say,
you're going to make them yourself. We're going to show you how to make them. That's what this is all about, folks.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're going to explore the art of making Celtic knotwork. And yes, it is kind of crazy at times, but we're going to do our best to show you how to get through.
Yeah. If we can do it, you can do it.
Yes. It's not that hard. Okay, bad mom joke out of the way.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Yes, okay. So please follow The Secrets of Sacred Art in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app for a fuller experience. And especially on this episode, you're going to be wanting to watch us on the SQPN YouTube channel, where you'll get to see all the images and demonstrations that we'll be doing in the show. And you can find us on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, on X at SQPN, or on Instagram at StarQuest Network.
We're always looking for ways to thank you, our patrons, for your generosity in making all the shows on StarQuest possible. And this is one of those ways. Patrons will have early exclusive access to this episode, and then we will share it with the whole audience in several months to show them the benefit of becoming a patron.
Yeah, so season 3, we've been focusing on all sorts of Celtic artwork. It's been awesome.
Absolutely.
All the intertwining weaving and carving and sculpture and architecture.
And history and...
Oh, yeah. Those big monumental crosses. So we're going to get all of this and do our best to try to get a Celtic design explained. I think you guys will enjoy this. This is taking me back to teaching art days. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is fun. Do you know what? I was thinking about this as I was trying to do this, because Kathryn and I always joke, because we approach things from different, it's interesting. We come at a problem from different directions, and then it's amazing how we tend to come to the same conclusion, but we always say great minds think alike. But
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So if you're
totally different directions.
Exactly. But it occurred to me as I was doing this and trying to figure it out. This is excellent, obviously, for people who know they're creative and they've got some confidence in crafting or being creative. But I think it's also going to be something for people who might feel like they're a little more on the engineering side or mathematical side. All that. Do you know? Because of course there's creativity that goes into that, but I think sometimes people don't see what they're doing as being creative because it's much more practical, maybe. But this is something that I think both types of brains will enjoy, and as I said, we'll have to just share how we were trying to approach this. And probably Kathryn was more successful in it. But anyway, but it just has inspired me to I'm going to figure this out. We'll get it done. But anyway.
Well, it's funny because you had the book first when I came to visit you. There was this book.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to go get mine. Sorry. Yeah.
So you had this out, and I always travel with a sketchbook, and my sketchbook is little and nice. And the one thing I love about my little sketchbook is that it has dots in it. All right, we're gonna give a little, doing something new this time, folks, and we are adding a little art cam here. Again, going back to my teacher days. The art cam, yes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And we're gonna show you. So this was the sketch I made at Alix's house. And what was fun for me was
when I let you rest for like three minutes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. When I had to hide from Alix while she was doing something else. But what was nice about it is my sketchbook had dots in it. And having a dot grid is super important to this project. So
it is.
Cut away from our art camp for a second here.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, having the grid really helps because it allows you. Oh, yeah. It keeps everything lined up for one thing. And it helps lay out the size of your knots and how to extend them into chains, which is really nice.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I should mention that if you look very closely on the Book of Kells, when, I had the opportunity to visit Hereford Cathedral and see the Hereford Gospels. All of these, you can see the tiny little pinpricks. They were using these graphs as well. So it's not like this is a new thing. This is going way, way back. And it's kind of like, when you were in, I'm sure you remember this when you were in art school, and I remember you breaking things up into smaller pieces. You have a better chance of getting the big picture than if you just try to wing it.
Oh, definitely. And I love having that grid underneath when I'm drawing curves. It really helps to keep a smooth curve going and transitioning from one direction to another. Or if you want to mirror image something, having that grid work makes it so much easier to do that.
A curve is just lots of teeny tiny straight lines, technically, right?
Way to pull out calculus into all of this. There you go, folks. Math and art, they go together.
They do. So there you go.
Yeah. So some of the things you're going to need for our project here, we will have a link for printing out the graph paper. And this nice website, love it, because you're able to tell it the size of paper you're printing on, how far apart you want your dots. You can do it in metric or what would you call
imperial? Imperial. It's metric or imperial.
I know.
The only reason I know that, well, I was going to say, the only reason I know that is because they use both over here.
That's right. You get both.
Yeah. I know. I will say this regarding whatever unit of measurement you're using. When you print it out, make sure when you use a ruler that you're using the right units, because it makes a difference. And I speak from experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Or have a double-sided ruler and make sure you got it the right way.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so it's good to have that in there. But I had the book for inspiration, but it's not necessary. I didn't exactly follow the instructions exactly as they are in this book. Came across another website. It's actually a calligraphy skills website, which will be in our show notes, that gives a very simple, easy beginner's instruction, which is what Alix and I followed for the most part. For making the knots. And
I would say this, let's put a link for the book as well. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if this is available in America, but we'll put the link just in case. It's a wonderful inspiration. And it does break things down, but you don't need it. You don't need it for this project at all.
Yeah, not for this project, but watercolor are fun to have. Colored pencils are another option. I actually did one with both. And then some good watercolor paper. And actually I found out you can print onto the watercolor paper with your printer, which is helpful too. Yeah. That makes life a lot easier. And then again, here's just showing my beginning sketches and doodles. As we were getting ready to do this, it was like, okay, what are we going to do? We really got to do something with Celtic knots. I mean, they're just fun. They're relaxing. Yeah. I found it really relaxing.
They are. Once you get going, it's really nice. And a fun thing to do. And the more you work on it, the better you get, just like most things in life.
Yep. And then I'm going to switch back to our little art cam here for a second.
Okay.
Because one thing that's helpful when you're doing an art project is to, have oops, I lost my focus.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a little blurry.
Oh, no. Come on, Art Cam.
There we go.
Did it find it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're doing an art project, especially one that's using or focused for devotional or sacred art, you're going to want to get that source first. And because I knew I wanted to have this as a prayer card, I was like, okay, what verse would go well with these Celtic knots? And I saw the little flowers and things, and the first thing that came to my mind was this verse from St. Luke. And this is from chapter 12, and this is a smaller section of it, because I knew I couldn't fit it on a smaller card. But I really loved what this says, and especially the last couple of weeks, because I get, flustered when I'm really busy. And so this was very helpful for me.
Yeah.
And it says, can any of you, by worrying, add a moment to your lifespan? If even the smallest things are beyond your control, why are you anxious about the rest? Notice how the flowers grow. They do not toil or spin, but I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of them. If God so clothes the grass in the fields that grows today and is thrown into the oven tomorrow, will he not much more provide for you, O you of little faith? And part of the reason why I picked this particular verse was because the name of one of the knots is Solomon knot.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, with all the little details and flowers and things that we see, I just really liked how I could draw all of that together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was nice. It was very nice. And the size is also important, isn't it? That was something I didn't take into account. But that's okay. Okay,
yeah,
here we go.
Planning out your size is important. And I did a little bit of that ahead of time, and I went with a 5x9 grid because I wanted it to be big enough to show well. And it can be shrunk down easily, but it's also, quicker, easier to work with is one thing. And then I do want to, we got to go back to our little art camp friend here. Is you can kind of see up here. Oops. Okay. I have lots of things all around me. Pens, pencils, paintbrushes. I am having a good time. First thing I found was a paintbrush. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, now this
there
works.
we go. So this is the Solomon knot. And it's basically like two interlocking links. And it's nice, simple, basic. Starting it is really nice. There's some really fine lines here. And this is what's the part that's going to make Alix crazy, is the little lines that I draw down first are actually helping me set the thickness of my knot. So you have the center dot, and then all I want to do is, how thick do I want my rope? I always imagine this as rope. And so I would just, for this, I was like, okay, I'm going to go directly in between the dots to set my rope.
Yeah.
Is what I did.
So you didn't measure that out with a ruler. You just did it.
I just like that. Yep.
Okay.
I just went in between the dots to get that diagonal pattern.
Yeah. So that folks is a major difference in our personalities. but so Kathryn gets things done a lot faster than I do. It's like, I think I'm going to measure it again. This isn't right. Yeah. Anyway, so that's easy. See, it's doable. It's absolutely doable.
It is doable. I think the thing that helped me was the fact that I wasn't trying to make it perfect for a very specific reason. I wanted it to look real.
Okay.
And there's nothing worse than when I catch myself getting so technical with drawing a line that I throw down a ruler and it's got to be a crisp, hard line. And then I go back and look at it and it's like, it's not breathing. It's just there. Where when I let the line happen, it's a little more natural, a little more organic.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's interesting you're saying that because I was looking at a lot of images online of Celtic knots, and I could immediately spot the ones that were done, just probably with some kind of app on a computer, or the kind of much more modern Celtic knots. And even they would like try to incorporate different animals, and it just didn't flow. It just did not flow. Yeah. So, all right. So what I'm going to try this again. I'm going to do my free hand kind of knot after this. And we'll see if there's a difference. Yeah. Okay. I digress.
Now, just for the basics for a warm up, I would recommend making this simple little chain over here.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little simple, like plaiting bread dough, right? Is that how they say it?
Yeah. Plait. Yeah.
I would say braiding, but I've heard plaiting because I watched the British baking show. Why not? But if you start with, think of it as two fingers crossed. So you have the over and the under.
Yeah.
And for this one, I'm using a 4x4 grid. And it's very helpful for that 4x4 grid. So that's the basic starting point. So that's one of these squares here. And then to get the next square, well, we're just going to put another one right next to it. Again, we got this time I switched it. I got the under and the over. A little under and over.
Yeah. And they're going in the same direction, and it's important for them to go in the same direction on one side, would you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you do
once
get confused.
You start going over from lower left to upper right, keep all your overs go in that direction.
Yeah.
And then the fun part is when you get to connect them together. So these are next to each other, then connecting them is just going up and over, adding a little connecting line, and just kind of rounding it out.
And the dots really help you make that smooth transition as well, don't they?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then to finish it off, so you have the two center portions done. To finish it off, this is a 2x4 dot setup. And basically you're just kind of going and connecting the endpoints, adding a little rounding so that it feels, again, if you kind of imagine as you're actually just laying down a little rope here.
Yeah.
That
kind of looks like it could be like the belt buckle of a dwarf's belt from Moria or Khazad-dûm.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Just think about this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see from there, just kind of like worked out some different sketch ideas and then going, okay, I want to put those flowers in the middle to start thinking about how's this going to fill out. And one piece of imagery I love from Sacred Art is the enclosed garden.
Paradise.
Paradise, yes. And we can think of Mary as an enclosed garden.
Yeah.
And so I just thought this is really, my plan for this. So this is what's to go with the verse. And in order, so we did that real basic, let me get another piece of paper here. That real basic knot, Solomon's knot. So here's the basic knot here. Solomon's knot, that chain is almost like doubling that. You can
It
see
is.
how
It
there's
is,
half
yeah.
of it, and then it's doubled out. And once the pattern starts happening, it really does flow to get that.
It does.
And we'll go
That's
through.
right.
Yeah.
And that's something important. People should just trust us on that one. Once you lay down the basics of the pattern, it really at some point you're just like going, of course I do this next. Of course I do this. It's really, it goes, I won't say it goes quickly because it depends on how much you want to do it and how much time to spend on it. But yes, and it's really fun. Once it starts to come together, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And so you can see on here how I transitioned into that long, Solomon chain, essentially. And it was with a lot of diagonal lines.
That you just freehanded.
That I just freehanded. So I can actually show you on the art cam. Just a real quick. So on here,
it's hard to see the dots, if I'm honest. I don't know where
it's not focusing, is it very well?
No.
Oh. All right.
But that's okay.
So, if I had, this is 4 dots wide there. And then I'll just bring it down a ways. So when I wanted to start extending and creating that chain, I just started throwing down diagonal lines.
Yeah.
Between all the dots. And
so you weren't counting the millimeters, the little lines and the millimeters, and trying to do it like I did.
And if I got off track, sometimes I would use another piece of paper as a guide.
Yeah.
So put it there just to make sure I was staying fairly straight, but not actually drawing up against it. Again, keeping it a little more organic.
Yeah. One of the things I think is worth mentioning, with all of this is you either want to have, as Kathryn said, a light touch with your initial laying down the structure of your Celtic knot, or maybe using a hard leaded pencil. So it's light and it can be erased easily, because you don't want something you don't want to see the background work. You want people to see the knots. Anyway.
Yeah. And then the other thing you notice, I'm turning my paper because there's nothing better than when you can always draw toward yourself. It's easiest for me to get a good line going. And I can tell I got a little off track on some of these. But
that's okay. You're demonstrating it.
Yeah.
It's working.
Just a couple of basics. So then to get it started, then it's just deciding, okay, which one's over, which one's under. It also helps to always be looking at one that's finished. That helped me a lot. Once I got one finished, it was like, okay, now I get it. And I always liked starting with the corners and then going, okay, this thing has to go so far over and so far down. Because there's always these little peaks in between.
Yeah.
So I'm wrapping the corner. And this is going to go. And what was nice is it kind of repeated how many squares down it would go.
Yeah, exactly.
So that once I have this set up, I'm trying to draw a little darker now. So then the inside of that fills in here and then goes down to there.
Yeah.
So you're starting to get that. I'm just tracing over those little faint lines that I had down there before. Happy little lines, is that where's
Bob Ross.
And, I know, little Bob Ross there. And then to extend it, instead of looping back around on itself, it continues down to the next section. And a lot of times it would be I would really get going. when I would, once I saw this pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay.
I always imagine them, they're like waves, like one wave after another, after another.
Yeah, like here's the next wave.
Yeah. So instead of thinking of them as like a knot, like a chain, if you think of them as waves.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's always this nice little center bar that okay, this is where I'm going.
And the center bars always need to be facing in the same direction. Otherwise, you'll see what happens when you see my finished product. It was just one time.
Because then you fill in the other side. You're just like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm just creating that next wave. And about the only time I would get picky with myself was making sure that these lines over under matched up.
Yeah.
Otherwise you feel like, oh, what did I just do?
You really do feel like that. And then it's like, so it's really important just to count, think you want the X's to be facing in the same direction.
Mm-hmm. And then what's nice is, of course, having a good eraser. And I love my mechanical pencil.
Yeah.
But then you just kind of go in and clean it up and you start seeing all those overs and unders a lot clearer. And it's like, oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice.
Yeah. And you do need to take your time,
Yes.
But
have a good podcast on.
Yeah. Talking about sacred art or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Celtic sacred art and, all the insular gospels.
So this is just showing all the ideas coming together. Once I knew what I wanted to do for the outside, I was like, okay, I got to do that interior. And for that, it was literally just picking one little image from the Book of Kells, a little trailing flower off of a letter. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to let these curves go.
That's another thing that's important. Yeah, is to find something that really inspires you. Like, I want to figure that out. And I want, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, so you can see how it kind of just keeps building. And that's fun. I like the erasing part sometimes as much as anything else.
Yeah.
And then
it's
just
nice that you can
how
just
it's all going to work.
Copy it. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. It's looking good.
Yeah. If you don't have a printer at home, you can do the old school light box. And when I say light box, I mean a window on a sunny day.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. When I was in high school, we had one light box for 20 to 5 kids in a class. And so basically, thank goodness, we had a wonderful panes of windows in the hallway that were facing south. And it was like, we'd be all up there with our stuff taped to the window, tracing it from our sketch paper to the final paper.
Yeah. But it does make it, and it's kind of fun. I mean, this is something that kids can do. Nice. I think my girls would have loved to do this because we did all kinds of artsy things when I was homeschooling, and but we never did Celtic knots. Weirdly, I don't know. We were doing other things.
It's amazing because they look so complex, but once you get the pattern, it just kind of starts going with it. Yeah. So one other thing I did was start playing with some colors on one of my sketches. I'm going to bring our little art cam up again.
Yeah, I know. This art cam is like the star of the show.
I'm having fun with this. My husband helped me get all this set up. I wish it had stayed in focus.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're getting there. It's not.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, playing around with colors and thinking about the verse that was on the back. I wanted to use purple in some way. Represents Solomon's royalty.
Yeah.
So, and, putting a little purple in between the knots, and then, going with some analogous colors. Look at that. Throwback to our color.
Yeah,
episode.
exactly. That's a very popular episode, by the way.
Hey, colors are
the
fun.
color one, yeah. I know, and they're interesting.
Went and looked at some of the design sites. You know, do I want to do a split complementary or, you know, an analogous triad or, you know, all that fun stuff. And it's fun. Yeah. There's some things where you can just actually play around and they'll show you what groups of colors go great together. Like if you do a split complementary, you have yellow, and then instead of with purple, you go to either side of purple. So you have a little red violet and a little blue violet, and kind of get those mixes in. You can really split it out and, you know, throw in blues and greens or reds and purples and kind of bring it out. But it's always good just to add a couple of different shade variances in there.
I like how you just did the yellows just in the middle of, you know, just that one little negative space. You've just filled it in with the yellow. I really like that. Yeah. It looks very whimsical. On recommendation from one of the sites where they said, if you do, you know, anything split complementary or using the complementary colors and some analogous, is to make sure there's always one that's going to be more dominant. So use it sparingly. And the yellow with purple is the use it sparingly. Yeah. But it looks, I really like it. And it really reminds me of the book of The Secret of Kells, the flowers and everything in The Secret of Kells.
Oh, yeah. I should have watched it again.
You didn't have to.
I know.
Yeah, you did it. You did it.
Yeah. But then I had some fun with the different plants. When I started working, I've got the two pictures here. One of them, I decided to just wash over the whole thing with one sort of really muted out purple, just so that everything would have that base of purple behind it. Yeah. And then another one, when I realized that, wow, the printer ink was not as permanent as I thought, I decided to be a little more particular. And so the image on the right, I was a little more careful with where I was filling in, and especially the little diamonds in between the knotwork, just kind of being a little bit more deliberate with it. And then I've got the images of how those look now. So this
is the one with the purple wash.
Well, this is the one that I was a little more deliberate with.
Okay.
Yeah, so all watercolor and then kind of a lighter wash in the middle. And I'm still building up the colors on this. So you can see that eventually I'll be adding some deeper blue violets in and around on the knotwork, and then deepening the colors. Yeah. And eventually doing some outline work on this. I might even bust out a little gold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
very pretty.
Then the other one, this is the one that was the complete wash. And I decided to go with colored pencil over the wash. So I've got my little array of colored pencils here. And there's one color, Alex, I picked just for you.
Okay.
The blue. Oh, yeah. Wait. Where'd it go? So this blue is
Kingfisher blue. Excellent.
Kingfisher blue. I purposely did that one because the kingfisher was in the Secret of Kells movie. Yeah. We love that bird.
I know.
Yeah. But you can see here, like after coloring it in and then adding a permanent ink outline, the way everything really just pops off the page.
It does. Yeah.
It's fun. And I'll probably, I'm going to just keep going with this for sure, because I am enjoying both methods and just seeing, what's going to happen. That's for me, one of the most fun things to do with art is just to keep experimenting.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is a fun thing to experiment with. And I enjoyed mine as well. I kept forgetting to take photographs, but I mean, I did take some, but no, it's definitely, it's inspirational in itself. Like as you're doing it, you're like, oh my gosh, what if I did this? Oh, I could do this. Yes. So, and this is Alix's version of it. I didn't make a prayer card. I just made a bookmark. And, I was telling Kathryn, I told my husband, I said, oh, Kathryn did this really lovely prayer card, which is what the whole thing was. And I said, and I just ended up drawing our cat. And he goes, that sounds like something you would do. I'm like, yeah, it would do. So I had in my mind to do something a bit smaller, like a bookmark. And so I started off with, I didn't use my ruler here. I just did, just kind of freehanded this, this shape because I am more inspired by the animals in Celtic art than I am the knots, I have to admit. So when I was doing the knots, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And I was taking another look at the Lindisfarne Gospels for some inspiration. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at the cat and looking at the grid, and I realized, oh, wow, those animals are drawn on the grid as well. And when I figured that out, I was able to copy the Lindisfarne cat. And so here he is. And it's just based on a series of 4x4 diamonds, 4 points with the dot in the middle. And that's what he's based on. It's amazing, including his paw and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, right away I knew this was Otis, your cat.
Mr. Otis. Yeah, so here's the other thing. You can take inspiration from you can have the knots, but then there's everything. All of creation is all over the insular manuscripts and gospels. They really are, which is the whole point. And so I was inspired by the cat on, I can't remember which page it is on, in the Lindisfarne Gospels, but in that one, he's got all these birds in his tummy, but I decided to just, like thinking about stripes of a cat, I decided to use the knotwork as his body. And again, it's a Solomon knot. I'm looking, I don't think all of mine are in the same direction. Yeah, they are. Anyway.
Yeah.
For the most, yeah, they are. It is. So
it is good. It's adorable.
Yeah. So this is the first, I just did this on the graph, a piece of, not graph paper, whatever. Yeah,
it is graph paper.
Yeah,
the dot paper.
Like
yeah,
dot paper. Yeah. So, so this is, you can see how I kind of built up this little cat, and if you want to, yep. And then this is my finished part. Like I said, sorry, I did not take any photographs because I was like, when I get into something, when I'm focused, that's what I do. I don't stop to do anything. Eat. Sleep. No. And so I painted it, and then I was inspired by the mice in the Cairo page of the Book of Kells. I wasn't going to have them handling the little Eucharist like they are in the Book of Kells, because my cat has not caught those rats yet. So they just have like a little ball, and he's looking about to pounce. And it says, and so my bookmark says Fortis Catus, which means mighty cat. So I want to do another one.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do another one. Try different animals. There are dogs, cranes, of course. So that's kind of what's pushing me to figure out this knotwork, because really, everything is, the knotwork is everywhere, this over and under kind of thing, but with the, but the animals are really an inspiration to me. So that's why I'll keep going with this. But I kind of like my little cat.
He's adorable. He's a cute little cat.
Yeah. Don't tell Otis.
Oh, no, don't tell Otis. Goodness, no. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of our little, take on all that. I would say just have fun and play with it. I'm looking forward to see what other people are going to come up with.
Yes.
And if you're feeling adventurous and you see a more complicated knot, go for it. And I would love to see in progress pictures on our Discord page.
That would be great. Yeah. Or even, I mean, it is something that just start doing it. It's a little bit like, I think I want to say if you're someone like me, that you like to have everything kind of perfect before you if I can only figure this out perfectly. But I would say maybe reserve those things to knitting. I'm very avid knitter. And one of the things I like about knitting is at the end of the row, if it says in the instructions, you should have X number of stitches at the end of the row. And I have this, what I'm supposed to have. I really like that, but this isn't like that. It's a little looser. But you can have fun with it and it's an approach. I think, as I said, if you have more of a technical mind, I think you will really enjoy this. And if you have a creative mind, you will enjoy it as well. So it's something for the whole family.
Yes. And we're definitely not a master's class. We're just learning and having fun ourselves and experimenting.
Yeah.
So we just,
Well, this is kind of like, do you know what? This is like friends getting together. Oh, look at this thing I've just learned. And we're just bringing in more friends into the process. Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
I would love to sit around with people and just kind of try different knots and drawings and then the little group setting. It's so much fun to sit with people and do little projects. So maybe you've got, one of your kids is really into this or a friend, get them together and, say, hey, let's try this.
And do something over Christmas break as well. I don't know how, I feel like over here they are on break for 5 months for Christmas, but not really. They have a long break. But I think it's a lot of fun. And also you can do so much with it. One of the things I was thinking about when I was looking, I thought, oh, wow, you could actually do some interesting color work and knitting with these knots. If you figure it out, you could totally do that. Embroidery. It's something on, painting on glass. How pretty would that be? Oh, yeah. Definitely. Just a really simple one, and then just have it as a sun catcher or something like that. All kinds of neat things to do. Bread. I'm joking. You could do a Celtic knot bread. I don't know.
There you go.
I'm not a baker. But anyway.
Make a nice little bracelet with some rope and strings. And stuff like that. It would work. All
kinds of stuff. It would. Yeah. So show us what you've come up with. We'd love to see it. I was just thinking wires. Remember when we were talking about I can't remember what it was. It was a sword hilt that we were showing from the British Museum.
Oh, yeah.
And he started off, it was looking really good, and then it kind of fell apart at the end. It's like, now I sympathize with you, sir.
And when in doubt, you can just do lots of little dots like they did in the Lindisfarne Gospel.
Yes.
You don't have to draw the whole knot, just dots is fine.
Yeah. Very simple. That would be fun for kids. Like if you just take a pencil eraser and put it in paint and you can dot like a really big one. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a dot tool. I love my dot tool.
I used to have a dot tool when I used to do the girls' nails when we lived in Norway, because what else are you going to do when it's...
Yeah, one of these tools.
Yep. It's amazing what you... Yeah. Yeah, we used to have those. Yeah.
Yeah, so we hope everyone enjoyed the project. And please, like we said, share any designs that you make on our Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord.
And we want to thank our patrons, and we hope that you've made something beautiful. And if not, we will have a coloring page that you can print and color. We'd love to see those too.
Yeah, we'll make the simple versions.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll each do one, put it out there, and you can show us what you've done.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Good job, Kathryn.